Your dog has been talking to you all day, through breakfast, through your morning routine, through every walk and training moment and quiet evening hour. They have been sending a continuous stream of carefully structured signals, and the overwhelming probability is that you have been reading none of them. Not because you do not love your dog, and not because you are inattentive, but because this language is one that nobody ever taught you to see. Once you learn it, you will never look at your dog the same way again, and the relationship you thought you had will turn out to have been only a fraction of the relationship that was always possible. Welcome to Hidden Paw Signals. Subscribe now, because today we are going deep into one of the most underexplored areas of canine communication, the microsignals, the small, brief, easily missed gestures that your dog uses constantly to communicate their internal state, to de-escalate tension, to request space, to signal trust, and to try to tell you when something is not okay. This is a language with documented roots in wolf behavior, refined across thousands of years of life alongside humans, and it is right in front of you every single day. The foundational research on what is now called canine calming signals was conducted by Norwegian dog trainer and behaviorist Turid Rugaas, whose 1997 book on the subject introduced this framework to a wide audience and sparked decades of subsequent research. Rugaas observed that dogs use a specific set of behaviors in a deliberate, socially communicative way, not as random outputs of internal state, but as directed signals towards specific individuals for specific purposes. She identified more than 30 such signals. Today, we are focusing on the 6 that most owners encounter daily but consistently misinterpret, and understanding these 6 will fundamentally change how you read your dog. The yawn is where most people start because it is so easy to misread. When your dog yawns in your presence, the near universal interpretation is tiredness. Sometimes it is, but in a very large number of cases, especially when the yawn occurs during a moment of tension, during training, during a greeting with a stranger, during a conflict between family members, or during any moment where the social energy in the room is elevated, the yawn is something completely different. It is a calming signal directed at whoever or whatever is causing the social pressure. It is your dog saying, through a behavior that communicates non-threat and de-escalation in canine social language, that they would like things to slow down. Watch when your dog yawns next. What just happened in the room? Was your voice raised? Did a stranger approach too quickly? Did you lean over them in a way that felt looming? Did the energy of a training session build past the point of comfort? In wolf packs, yawning functions as a social smoother, a way to signal that you are not a threat and that you would like the tension to decrease. Dogs have carried this behavior into their lives with humans and direct it at us regularly. When your dog yawns during a training session, they are not bored. They are communicating that the pressure has become more than they can comfortably process. The lip lick is one of the fastest and easiest signals to miss because it takes less than a second. It is a brief, often barely perceptible flick of the tongue across the upper lip or nose, and it occurs in moments of social stress, uncertainty, or appeasement. When your dog licks their lips quickly while you hold eye contact with them, or while a stranger approaches, or while they are being examined at a veterinary clinic, they are broadcasting a social signal that communicates submission and a desire to avoid conflict. Paired with averted eyes, it is one of the clearest possible communications that your dog is uncomfortable with what is currently happening. Before we continue, a critical note here. Everything in this video is educational content drawn from behavioral research. It is not veterinary advice. Lip licking that is frequent, excessive, or unprompted by a social situation, lip licking that occurs repeatedly in the absence of obvious social stressors, can sometimes indicate nausea, dental pain, gastrointestinal discomfort, or other physical issues. If your dog is licking their lips or nose repeatedly in situations where there is no obvious social stressor, please consult your local veterinarian. Physical causes are always worth ruling out before interpreting the behavior as purely communicative. The slow blink is something cat owners may recognize in a different form, but dogs use it too, and with a specific meaning. When a dog maintains gentle, soft eye contact and then performs a slow, deliberate blink rather than a hard stare, they are communicating relaxation, comfort, and trust in your presence. Hard, unblinking eye contact in dog social language signals challenge or threat. The slow blink is its opposite. It is your dog saying through their eyes that they are not on guard with you, that they feel safe enough to briefly soften their visual field. If you slow blink back at your dog during a quiet moment together, many dogs will respond by blinking again or by looking away briefly, which is itself a trust signal, not indifference.
They are making a deliberate gesture of non-confrontation. Direct frontal eye contact between unfamiliar dogs is a challenge signal. Turning the head removes that challenge. Dogs use the same gesture toward humans when they sense that a direct approach or direct eye contact is going to create tension. If you approach your dog directly and they turn their head away, they are not being dismissive, they are being diplomatic, and the appropriate response is to approach at an angle rather than head-on. Ground sniffing is perhaps the most misread calming signal of all. When a dog suddenly becomes intensely interested in the ground during an approach, during a stressful moment, or when unfamiliar individuals are nearby, many owners interpret this as distraction, disrespect during training, or simple opportunism. In the context of calming signals, it is more often a displacement behavior, an action the dog performs to break the tension of a social situation that is becoming overwhelming. It says in behavioral language that they need a brief exit from the intensity of the interaction. Correcting a dog for sniffing the ground in these moments is the equivalent of scolding someone for pausing to breathe during a difficult conversation. Turning their back or entire body away is one of the stronger calming signals in the repertoire. When a dog presents their back to you or to another dog or person, it is easy to interpret as rejection or indifference. In calming signal terms, it is one of the most powerful de-escalation gestures available. By removing their gaze and presenting a non-threatening profile, the dog is actively working to lower the social temperature. It appears in high-tension greetings, in moments where a dog is trying to calm another dog, and sometimes toward humans who are emotionally activated in ways the dog is trying to soothe. It is not rudeness, it is the canine equivalent of taking a step back to give someone space. Most owners, when they learn about calming signals, immediately begin looking backward at interactions they now understand differently. The training session where the dog kept yawning was not a failure of attention. The moment the dog looked away during what felt like an important eye contact was not defiance. The sudden intense interest in a patch of grass during a walk with a stranger nearby was not stubbornness. These were all communications, directed with specificity and intention, that went unanswered or were actively corrected. Understanding this does not mean past mistakes define your relationship with your dog. It means you now have access to a channel of communication that was always open. What should you do differently? Begin by observing before responding. When you see a lip lick, a yawn, a head turn, or ground sniffing in a context that matches a stress signal rather than a physical need, try to identify what social stressor preceded it. Then, rather than pushing through or correcting the behavior, address the stressor. Lower the intensity of the training. Approach from the side rather than head-on. Give the dog a moment to reorient before continuing. What you are doing when you respond to calming signals by adjusting your behavior is speaking back in the same language. You are completing the conversation that your dog started. The relationship implications of this are significant. Dogs that live with owners who respond appropriately to calming signals show lower baseline stress levels, more confident behavior in novel environments, and stronger social bonds with their owners. They do not need to escalate to barking, growling, or snapping to be understood, because the quieter communication is sufficient. The signals escalate in intensity when the quieter ones are repeatedly ignored. When the quieter ones work, they remain the primary form of communication, and the relationship operates at a calmer, more trusting frequency. This is a language your dog was born knowing, one they have been using with you since the first day they came into your life. The signals did not start when you learned they existed. They have always been there, in every moment of stress, every moment of trust, every moment of wanting things to go gently. You were already in a conversation, you just did not know it yet. Now you do. As always, everything in this video is educational in nature. If you observe frequent or unusual signals that concern you, particularly those that might indicate physical discomfort, please consult a qualified local veterinarian. Your vet is the right person to rule out physical causes and to give guidance based on your individual dog. Share this with someone who trains dogs or who has ever wondered what their dog was trying to say. Leave a comment below with the signal you are going to start watching for first. And if you found this valuable and haven't subscribed yet, please do that now. More is coming on hidden paw signals. The voice and visuals in this video were created using artificial intelligence. Thank you for watching Hidden Paw Signals.